illusion or Maya means that which is not existing. It is not anything. All is actually Brahman. Maya means an imagination superimposed on Brahman. Maya is what is not existing. For example, in the ocean, there are bubbles and waves. But all of that is only water. All manifest phenomena is created by ideas. For example, in a movie theater, the light is projected on a screen and there is this sound made by the speakers. In reality, there is only the light, different colors projected on the screen in a different, which appears like a different form, and there is the sound. But what is this? The watcher of the movie, the one who is witnessing the movie, who is enjoying the movie sitting in the theater, he doesn't see it as just a light and sound. Light projected on the screen and the sound produced by the speaker. No. He is seeing as though there is a hero, there is a villain, there is a story going on the screen. He is superimposing his imagination over the light which is projected on the screen. The reality is there is just light projected on the screen which is forming different shapes continuously. But the storyfying, the one who is enjoying the movie sitting in the theater, he superimposes, he perceives it as though there is a real story happening on the screen, as though there is some hero, there is a heroine, but in reality there is no individual over the screen. It's just a light. If a newborn child is sitting in a theater, for it is just a light and sound. There is newborn child cannot storyfy anything, it cannot perceive any story in it. Hence it will not be affected by whatever happening on the screen. Let it be a horror movie, let it be a romantic movie, let it be a comedy, let it be a tragedy. Nothing is going to affect the newborn child because it's not storyfying anything, it's not superimposing any imagination, it's not perceiving the screen through its imagination, conceptual mind. But an adult, because of his conceptual mind, he is projecting there is some hero, heroine. So why is he doing? Because if you don't perceive this projected light as though there is somebody on the screen, imagine that as though there is somebody hero, somebody called hero, somebody called heroine, really something is happening on the screen. You have to believe it. If you don't believe it, then there will not be any excitement or enjoyment can't be derived out of this movie of 3 hours. So in order to enjoy the movie, we have to believe something. So this is Maya. When there is only one basic reality, Brahman, we have to believe, project, superimpose, storyfy that there are separate individual things in existence. The enjoyer of the movie has to believe, imagine as though there is a hero, heroine, villain and some story is happening. But what is the reality? Reality is just a light which is taking different shapes. There is no hero, there is no villain, there is nothing happening. Just a light which keeps on changing its forms, projected forms continuously for 3 years. Nothing else is really happening. But is this reality perceived by the enjoyer of the movie? No. He is ignoring the reality and imagining there is something happening in the theater, believing there is something happening in the theater, and hence he is affected by whatever happens on the screen because of his imagination, not because of the reality. Reality is just light and sound. But why somebody who is watching the movie cries, laughs, comes to the edge of the seat and full of fear, depending upon what scene is happening? Because of his own imagination, because of his own belief. So reality is not the problem. How am I perceiving it? How am I believing it? When there is only one reality, Brahman, which is appearing, takes all the forms. So how am I perceiving it? I am perceiving as though I am a human being and there are separate individual existence. So this is my belief. So all the perception, what we call as world and life, it's just our own imagination. So what is the reality then? Reality is there is only one basic existence, which is Brahman. When the Brahman appearing as everything and we call it as separate individual existence, as things, separate individual things is our own imagination. It's not real. There is no separate individual things. For example, in the sea, the waves arise. If a group of waves call themselves as they are a separate superior race of waves, they are a separate group, they have an independent individual existence. And some few meters away, 100 meters away, there are another group of waves and they are another race or inferior race of waves. And the waves always fight with each other that our race is superior, our race is superior. They always have this fight. They feel and think and imagine that they are separate. They have separate individual existence. So if a wave thinks like that, I am a separate individual, which is just an imagination. What is the reality is there is only one sea water which is appearing as all the waves on the surface, temporarily. Essence is one sea water. But if a wave thinks I am a separate individual wave, so it will always have fear. It will be either feeling superior or inferior depending upon its size. The wave will think I am a small wave, newborn. There are bigger waves on this surface. They are my role models. I want to become like that. I will work for that. I have to develop myself. I have to change my shape. My shape looks ugly. I want to beautify myself. It will have fear because there are so many waves nearby. Any wave can affect me, can destroy me, can destroy my surface. I might be attacked. I want insurance. I want to be in a group of waves protected. I can't be alone. There is vast ocean. There are so many waves. I fear to be alone. I want a group of people to interact with. So the wave, if it identify with its form, it will have so much anxiousness about its future. It will feel guilty with whatever happened. It will have the fear. It will have to do something to improve itself because so many beautiful waves are around there. Bigger waves are there. So this is the life of hell. This imagined individual sense. Is it real that wave is have as a separate individual existence? No. All the waves are an expression of the same seawater, temporary expressions. No wave has any independent existence other than seawater. So this imagination that I am an individual adds a lot of excitement, suffering, storifies the existence, the wave world storifies itself by believing that we are individual waves. Only if the waves thinks we are individual, there is an individual existence to us, then some story can happen in the world of waves. If there is no imagination that there is individual waves, then there is no storification. There is only seawater, serene. There is no fight, no superiority. In fact, no story is there. So it means all that what we call as our life, this existence, is nothing but storification, imagination, superimposing concept and ideas and believing it into existence. Because of that, we have a lot of excitement, sufferings. Not because of the reality. It's because of the imagination, superimposed imagination on the reality. Like in the theater, the watcher of the movie is affected by the movie not because of the light and the sound. but because of his own imagination that there are independent individual characters. The waves on the sea is affected by whatever movements happens on the surface of the sea, not because of the reality seawater, but because of the imagination that there are individual independent waves. So reality is not the problem. Reality is not the hell. Reality doesn't give suffering. Only your imagination superimposed on the reality. When there is only one Brahman, we are imagining that we are independent individual things. I am a human. If we say we are a human, it means we are identifying with our form identity. Like a wave identify itself with a form and says, I am a newborn wave. I am of this size, this group of waves. I belong to this race of waves. Because it identifies itself with the shape, not with its essence. In the same way, if we identify with our essence, what is the essence? How do we know what is our essence? How does a wave will know what is its essence? Before the wave was there, what was there? Seawater. After the wave ends, what will be there? Seawater. So it means while the wave is there, that time also the same seawater is there. So the seawater doesn't changes. So that it means it is that essence. So before this body, mind, ego is there, what was there? Existence. Without shape. After the body, mind, ego ends, what will be there here? Existence. Even when the body, mind, ego is there, what is there here? Same existence, consciousness, bliss. So when we are in deep sleep, when there is no body, when we are not aware of the body, not aware of the mind, not aware of the ego, what is there? We are there. As what are we there? As our original nature. So, before the body, mind, ego, and after the body, mind, ego, this original nature will always be there. So, this original nature, consciousness, Brahman, Paramatman itself is appearing as body, mind, ego. So, are we going to identify ourselves with the essence identity? Or are we going to identify ourselves with the form identity? Whether the wave is going to identify itself with its shape or with its essence, this shift of identity is going to make the difference of heaven and hell. If a wave takes itself as a sea water, then there is nothing to do. It's eternal. There is no fear. It can never be destroyed. It's neither born nor going to die. It's the essence of all the waves. It doesn't have to travel anywhere, because even if it travels 1,000 miles away, it's going to see itself. There is no difference. No difference is going to happen. From 10 years from now, there is nothing, no difference is going to be there. The seawater doesn't have to beautify itself. It doesn't have to be bigger. Only a wave have to be bigger. Wave have to fear. Like that, when we shift our identity from the form, which is the body, mind, ego, subtle form to gross form, all these things are just the shape taken by the Supreme Brahman. The mind is a shape. The ego, the individual sense, is a shape taken temporarily by the Brahman. This individual consciousness, separate individual consciousness, is a shape taken by the Brahman. The body is a gross shape taken by the Brahman. Are we going to identify with this shape taken by the Brahman, shape of the Brahman, or are we going to identify with essence, which is Brahman itself? Are we going to see only the light or the shape which the light projects on the screen? If you just see the light, then there is no storification. Hence, we will not be affected 3 hours we will not be affected if we just focus on the light, which is just projecting different shapes. Then nothing is going to affect. But if we concentrate on the shape and believe that there are independent individual characters, then the story is going to affect us. If we take this universe, manifest universe, is just, if we see it as just an expression of Brahman, movement of Brahman, one Brahman, there is no independent individual things really, then this manifest universe is not going to affect us, whatever time period the body, mind, ego is there. But if we don't superimpose our imagination, belief, idea, concept, separate independent existence is a concept, idea, imagination, which is not true, superimposed on the one reality. Because of the superimposed imagination of separate individual existence, only we suffer. At the same time, we get excited because of the same superimposed imagined independent existence over the one uniform Brahman. Both excitement happens because of this, and suffering happens because of this false superimposed independent individual existence. This is Maya. This false superimposition, false belief is Maya. But without this false imagination, there is no fun. If I don't believe that there are separate characters in the movie, there is no fun in the movie. So it means the Maya is basic requirement for fun. We have to imagine, we have to accept, we have to believe, we have to make a concept, idea that there are independent individual things. Then only fun happens. So this is God's Leela. But is really there are independent individual things? No. Is anybody taking birth in the sea? Is really somebody taking birth and dies? No. It's only the sea water. It's always there. So Brahman is always there. Whether it appears in a particular form, whether the wave, whether the sea, or with the waves, without waves, the sea water is always there. Brahman takes different forms or without a form, Brahman, basic reality is always there. Nobody is taking birth, nobody is dying. Hence it's just a game, just a leela, just a play, just an imagination. So what is the problem? To imagine. Who is having the problem? The problem is for the imagined characters, not for the real Brahman. God doesn't have any problem. Who is having problem? Only the imagined characters is having problem. But they doesn't even exist. The imagined characters ask, oh, why the God has created so much of things? Why this painful? Why this suffering? The God might be cruel. Why this so much of struggle? Why God forgets itself and again struggles so much to get back to itself, to the reality, to enlightenment? Why all these things? Why? This question is asked not by God, but by the imagined individual consciousness, which doesn't even exist. So the one who doesn't even exist asks this question. The one who exists really doesn't ask this question because it's not affected by anything. Then why should it cry? What problem it's having? So when we identify with the essence of who we are, then everything comes to an end. We attain contentment complete. We doesn't feel either superior or inferior. The sea water doesn't feel superior or inferior. Only the wave, when it identifies itself with the shape, has to feel superior or inferior. There is no other way. A wave can never be content. It cannot be fearless. It should always fear about its existence. Because any time it can die. Any time a bigger wave can come and smash the smaller wave. Then how can it be fearless? How can it be content when there are so many waves which are much more beautiful, much more stronger than it? It's impossible for a wave to be content. It's impossible for a wave to be peaceful or serene or complete. So only way for a wave to be content, peaceful, is to identify, to lose its form identity and take the identity of its essence, sea water. The only shift which is required for the wave, nothing else. If it keeps on beautifying and developing itself for eons, years and years, nothing is going to change. It's not going to feel complete after so much of struggle by doing something. It has to do only one thing. Even after thousands of years, it has to do only one thing. That thing is to change the shift of its identity from the form to the essence. In the same way, as long as we identify ourselves with a body, mind, ego, even if we work for 1,000 years to develop ourselves, to solve our external problems, to ensure ourselves, nothing is going to change. We are not going to attain any contentment. Even after 1,000 years, we will come to the same point that there is a need to shift the identity from body, mind, ego to the essence of who we are. When we identify with our essence, that the same essence is the essence of everything in this universe. My essence is the essence of the sun, is the essence of the moon, is the essence of the earth, is the essence of a dog, is the essence of a rock, is the essence of the mountain, is the essence of the angels, it's the essence of the demon. Like in the sea, only sea water appears as everything, as bubbles, as a water wave, as a small bubble, big bubble, waves, droplets. It's all one sea water. In the same way, my essence, which is Brahman, existence, consciousness, bliss, is the same essence of everything in this universe. So nothing is inferior, nothing is superior to me, everything is one with me. In a single stroke, I became everything in this universe. Then why should I compete with something? When I identify with a form, I have to compete with another form. I have to make another form as my role model. I have to feel superior and inferior with respect to another form. But when I identify with my essence, I become one with everything. I am complete. There is nothing can be added to me. Nothing can be added to seawater to make it more bigger. Nothing can smash the seawater to make it smaller. So nothing can be added to our original nature to make it more perfect. We are already perfect. And nothing can be taken away from our original nature because there is nothing else other than who we are. So there is a choice for the realized ones, for the ones who have the capability to identify with the essence, to know the essence which is beyond the body, mind, ego, to intuitively sense this essence beyond the body, mind, ego, one who could withdraw the attention behind the ego. For those, they have a choice whether to identify with the form and take this belief that there are separate individual things and continue playing this game of imaginary game of life, or just identify with the essence and be serene, complete, blissful. So they have this choice. So the realized ones have the choice whether to give birth to the world of separate individual things or to destroy it. Only if we believe that there are independent individual things, there is a world, perceived independent world with so much of story. If we don't take it as real, then the world doesn't exist for us. There is only one supreme Brahman. I am Brahman, everything is Brahman. So we have the choice, and the world, existence of world, it depends upon our belief. If we don't believe, then the world doesn't exist for us. So an ignorant person is a victim of the world. A realized person is the source of the world. If he believes only, then the world exists. The world cannot affect the realized being because for him there is no world. He can destroy the world in one stroke, just perceiving it from the point of view of the essence. From the point of view of the essence, there is no world. From the point of view of the seawater, there is nothing individual thing called wave. There is only seawater. So then all the storyification of this wave, nothing matters to that seawater. So when I am Brahman, The realization is there, then there is only one essence. If we want, we can continue playing the imaginations that yes, I am separate individual body and there are separate individual bodies out there and we are doing something imagination. We know that's an imagination. Still we play. We know it's an imagination and also play this. Then this life will be playful. Then only it's Leela. If he doesn't know the essence of who we are and essence of everything in the universe, then this life cannot be fun. It's not a Leela, it's a war. What is the difference between a game and a war? What is the difference between seeing a movie and experiencing in real life? Because we know it's not true. A game is a game because it's fun, because we know it's not true. We are just imagining that there is a separate team and we are a separate team. And just for a fun of 2 hours, 3 hours, we are doing this. Nobody is going to gain anything out of this game. Nobody is going to really lose anything out of this game. We know this truly, so only it's fun. When we know our essence, we know we are not going to gain anything out of this body-mind existence because we are already complete. We are not going to lose anything in this life by not doing anything, by not achieving anything, because we are already complete. It's just a game. We are not superior or inferior because we are actually one essence only. So when we know this, then this life will be a leela or a game or a fun. Only when we know the essence of who we are, which is untouched and indestructible by whatever happens. Whatever happens inside a ground is not going to affect us really. When we go outside of the ground, when the game ends, then we come to our normal regular life. Everything is within the ground only. When we know this, it's fun. When we don't know this, then it is going to be a war. When we don't know the essence of that, who we are, which is going to exist even after the body, mind, ego dies out. If we take ourselves as only the body, mind, ego, then this life is going to be a war. I will always have the fear. I don't want to lose my existence as the body, mind, ego. This is going to be then the realized beings, only the realized beings have the choice whether to play or not to play. Even while playing, it will be not serious. They might be playing very sincere, but it's not serious to them. It's all fun. It's of no purpose for them. Nothing can add. This game is not going to add anything, or this game cannot take away anything from the realized beings. So finally, it's up to us how much we are going to identify with our essence and how much we are going to identify with the form and imagine that we are a separate individual thing. How much percentage of identity is there with the essence and how much with the imagined independent individual existent based on the form. So this percentage of identity is going to determine how much I am going to get affected by the story called life. How much this movie is going to affect me depends upon how much identification, imagination that I superimpose, that there is separate individual things happening on the screen, hero, heroine story. So the watcher is going to decide how strongly the movie is going to affect me. The movie is neutral. Somebody is just eating a popcorn, not at all interested in the movie, nothing. He is not at all affected by whatever happens on the screen. And another person is crying because of this tragedy on the screen. The movie is same for everyone, but one is affected and another one is not affected. It means the watcher is deciding how much the movie is going to affect him. In the same way, we, the Supreme Brahman consciousness, we are deciding how much the story of life is going to affect me. How we are deciding by how much we are identifying ourselves with the form identity and the essence identity. It's in our hands. If I identify with my essence 99% and only 1% imagination, identity with the body, mind, ego, then only I will be affected by only 1%. Remaining 99%, I am going to be stable, bliss, serene, complete, content. If, like an ignorant person, if I identify 100% with the body, mind, ego, and totally the essence is out of my experience, totally out of my experience, not even I have not even heard about it, then I will be 100% affected by the story of life. There will not be even a 1% of serenity, bliss, or stability inside me, because I am totally identified with the body, mind, ego, and imagination that I am a separate individual existence. That much I am going to be affected by the story called life, which is just an imagination. So we are deciding. We give birth to the universe. If I say there is only Brahman, there is nothing called universe or individual, then the universe doesn't exist for me. It might exist for somebody else, but for me, if I see only the essence of everything, there is no separate individual, then there is no storification, anything. It's just the essence moving on the surface. That's it. Nothing is happening, nothing has ever happened, nothing is happening now, nothing is going to happen in the future on the surface of the sea. Nothing has happened in the past, nothing is happening now, it's just only sea water which is moving. In the past, that was the sea water moving. Now the sea water is moving. In the future, the sea water will move. What else is happening on the surface? But if a wave thinks it is an independent individual wave, it will have a lot of story. In our race of waves, so much big stalwarts have won, and this thing happened between this race of waves and that race of waves. And now it's our turn that we have to protect our race, and we have to bring back the glory of our race of waves. All these things are just an imagination of the waves, ignorant waves, imagination. But what is really happened? Just the seawater have moved on the surface, raised and gone back, raised and gone back, raised and gone back. Nothing else ever happened. Whatever happened and the history which we are writing is just an imagination of the ignorant waves. This thing happened, and it was born, and this thing, he was born, he has died. It's all the entire histories and just an imagination of ignorant waves. Nothing else ever happened from the point of view of the essence and the realized being. So no history is relevant for them, because for them nothing has ever happened. It's all an imagination. Thank you.